I'm Matt Braunger. This might help.
I am not a doctor.
This might help.
I'm not a professional.
Let's have fun. This honestly is a good time.
Honestly, I got no idea what I'm doing. What's going on, Corey?
I'm Matt Braunger. This might help. The podcast.
Hey, welcome to This Might Help with Matt Braunger. Thanks for rolling with the changes, as a lot of you people know. And yeah, I said it, you people. The podcast used to be called Advice from a Dipshit with Matt Braunger, but we had to change it because of the name and also because of new partnerships, la, 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 la. But this way you can tell your parents about it and don't have to curse. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce my guest, who is an old friend of mine who we've hung out many, many times, and he's been very generous about having me on his platforms. And we've had some crazy times. Please welcome Doug Benson. Doug, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm great. Hashtag UTC.
Doug, I love your hat. It says concentrate.
Yeah, because we really need to focus and help these people with their problems.
That's right. I appreciate that. I love the idea that you have a different hat for every kind of interaction you have during the day, including various podcasts.
Yeah, but they all mean the same thing. I've got one that says focus. I've got one that says pay attention.
Center in. I've seen you wearing the center in one at festivals. One thing this whole cockamamie situation made me realize that I obviously we're not seeing a lot of each other, but it's made us all kind of check in more. Have you checked in more with people, or have you been more withdrawn? How you been?
That's the thing, is all of us having podcasts, and these kind of makeshift stand-up shows and stuff. It's like, it really is, nice to be able to interact with everybody, so that's a good part, I guess. And, most podcasts weren't in front of a live situation to begin with.
Right.
So it really, to the listeners, the podcast hasn't changed except for, the constant talking about what's going on. But, that's the weirdest thing for Doug Loves Movies, is now that it's just being done, Zoom style.
Right.
And I still enjoy it. I think, people are enjoying listening to it, but it's just, it really changes the show.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an interesting point that I really wasn't thinking about, is maybe even though I was just talking with Jessica Kirsten the other day on her podcast about how, like, as a stand-up, I feel like a horse and somebody came and took my legs off in the night. And like, so I've just been in this bed and it's nice, I'm comfortable, but I want to run, baby,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like we're maybe built for this a little better than some people, because most of us either have podcasts or do them pretty regularly. And so we have that kind of, we have a comfortable level of just being recorded as we're talking. Whereas
yes.
Most people, when they do a Zoom, they do a meeting or anything like that, they're like, oh, I don't like this. This is weird. And it is. Zoom anything is fucking weird, because you're kind of just staring into someone's face the whole time. And everything's kind of very, very one-on-one. But
I've always, from the start of FaceTime, I have wholly rejected it. If I'm in a FaceTime conversation, it's because, I butt dialed somebody or they butt dialed me. You know what I mean? Like, and even my friends that I have accidentally FaceTime go, yeah, I was like, oh, what happened? Why is he FaceTiming me? Like, it means there's some sort of emergency situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just don't like it. I don't want to look at the person I'm talking to on the phone.
Right. Yeah. That was a technology thing that, I remember when I was a kid, and I'm sure when you were too, they were always just like, oh man, the day we have phones, we can see each other, we're never going back. And it was like, no, like once that technology came, it was like, I like that I can be naked or be doing anything that they're not watching, while I'm doing all this stuff. So it's
that's why walkie-talkies are still fun.
Yes, right.
Because it's like, it's a throwback to like this thing where you didn't have to see each other all the time.
Yeah, I mean they think that we'd want communication above all else and not reserve any of our distance. When the truth is, people want more distance. People would rather text than call, almost always, just to get done with the information.
So that's what I'm still doing is a lot of texting and a lot of DMs and a lot of and then a lot of just joining people, coming together with people on our various shows. And Instagram's a lot of fun to jump on there and just bring your friends in. I know people like Eddie Pepitone and Jeff Ross are both doing and Rainn Wilson. They all have they just go on Instagram and then either bring in a planned guest, or in the case of Jeff Ross, he just sits there and roasts people.
Yeah,
they just roll through. He insults them for a while, and then he hangs up on them, and then he gets somebody else. And it's. I watched it the other day. It's fascinating programming. I think it should be a real TV show.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's just cuts all the fat out.
Yeah, and it's just, and they're all showing up to hear horrible things. Like, he can't be too mean,
right?
Because that's what they're there for.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And you're seeing it through this kind of this prism, rather than having to communicate with total strangers on a personal level. You're kind of like, oh, I'm just enjoying this. This is entertainment still. That's why TikTok is so huge. I wouldn't want to actually just watch what a family's doing, but if they do a fun dance or someone falls down some carpeted stairs to the tune of a hit record, I'm in. That sounds great.
Yeah. I want to see someone take a fall while "Hit Me Baby One More Time" is playing.
Absolutely. I love comedy, and I love stand-up and all that. But nothing's ever made me laugh harder than America's Funniest Home Video montage of people falling down the stairs. I remember it was unrelenting of different people missing a step and going. One guy with a thing of laundry. And the great thing about, with respect to Tosh.0, it's good for what they've done, but America's Funniest Home Videos, you're going to see no injuries. No one, a guy could be up on a snow-covered roof and he's going to fall. You can laugh because he's going to be fine because it's a G-rated show,
Yeah, it's not like Jackass where then there's 3 minutes of watching somebody limp around crying.
A bone sticking out of their leg.
Yeah.
Tosh cracking wise about it. I'm like, I can't handle that right now.
Yeah. I mean, when I get injured, I never wanted to be in a situation where my buddies are laughing.
Oh, yeah. No. I never wanted to have that kind of pirate friend group. It's like, oh, you caught a musket in the chest. Let's laugh. We can't help you. We're out at sea.
They took the expression "laughing all the way to the bank," changed it to hospital. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. And you're supposed to be laughing. The injured person is supposed to be laughing all the way to the bank. You're not laughing, and you're going to the hospital. Your friends are laughing.
But they keep doing it. There's going to be a new Jackass movie, and I can't believe that's still a thing.
I mean, I love Johnny Knoxville, but the shit he's put his body through, why?
Yeah, and it won't be funny. We won't be able to go back and watch the old movies if he dies in one.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it'll ruin everything.
They've done everything. Why do they keep pushing it? It's just like, guys, just how about now just survive? How about Jackass is you guys just laughing at each other because there's a pandemic and you're not dead yet?
Yeah, you laughing at the fate itself. You made it. You're all in your 50s. You're good. You made it out.
So good. They got a little money, I hope.
I mean, if he dies, it'll be the old Jackasses will be like watching the Naked Gun movies when OJ shows up, and you're like, oh, I forgot OJ Simpson is in these, and it's a major.
It's pretty funny though. That one scene where he is on that boat and he gets hit in the face. It's like a series of pratfalls. He gets hit in the face by everything, and then eventually falls off the boat. Yes. I mean, that's even funnier now.
Yeah. Because you're like, at least that would be some punishment.
Yeah, I don't like the dialogue scenes and scenes where people are treating him like he's a nice person or whatever.
Right.
But that sequence is pretty funny. And also the one at the baseball because then he shows up again at the end of that one.
He's in a wheelchair and he goes down the stairs.
I think he's even on the bed, right? He's like in a full.
Yes.
The whole bed bounces down the stairs.
And hits the rail and he flips like 8 times.
Yeah.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Very violent. So that can be cathartic. I bet you Ron Goldman watches it every day.
Oh God.
Or is it Fred? Which one? Which one's?
Yeah, wasn't it? Or was
the
Ron?
Dad is Fred, or the dad was Fred, right?
That was Fred. That
the mustache.
That what's his name had the bit about. I'm blanking. Anyway, about meeting him and couldn't figure out who he was. Damn it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
just couldn't place it. I don't know who you're talking about, but that's a great
tall guy, bald, the metal comedian. You know him.
Brian Posehn?
Yeah, Posehn. It was Posehn. Thank you. I did John Oliver's stand-up show the night he first I think did that bit. And
okay.
I remember watching it from backstage and just laughing and cringing at the same time. So, Doug, do you get a lot of asks for advice? I mean, you've been doing comedy, what, 25 years, longer?
Yeah, a long time. And also, I was really excited at first about this question because it sounded like you were asking me, do you get a lot of ass? I get
asses and a lot of questions.
Yeah, I do. I don't know, like, what kind of things do people ask you? Do they ask you about comedy and careers in comedy, or is it more broader than that?
Broader than that. We actually kind of ask people to stay away from the comedy thing, and the producers filter out if, how do I make it? It's just, you just do it until you run out of gas is really.
Yeah. Well, I've answered those questions, 2 seconds into, as soon as you seem like you have a career that's working at all, right. Everybody wants to know, how, what's the secret? Especially with stand-up comedy, the secret is a million things. And right now I say, go to Gary Goldman's Twitter account. He's got a list of like hundreds of tips. Perfect. And it's like, they're all great, but
they're all so good.
But you can't, nobody can do them all. You have to find your own way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You have to make
that's tip number 1 is you have to do all of it.
You have to do all of it.
The tips aren't going to do it for you.
There's no magic elixir you can drink and it'll work out. But you've also carved out. You've done so much in podcasting. You're obviously a huge figure in the marijuana. I'll say movement in a sense. Do you have I'm sure have a lot of people who would ask you, what would you think about me doing this? What would you think about me doing that? So do you get that from your, just societal hangouts or,
Oh yeah. No, it's, it's because of the varying, things that I've touched on in my career. I've got all these different niches of people who then, when they get their chance to ask me questions, they ask me about it. So it's, I'm always having to tell people what my favorite strain of weed is, what my favorite movie is, a favorite restaurant, because I have a food podcast, like all that stuff. And I'm an expert on none of it, and I like recommending things, but I don't really like saying this is the best or that's the best, because it's it's all up to the individual.
That's it. You kind of just nailed the whole theme of this show, because I'm not an expert, but I can hopefully help. I mean, the whole title itself is tongue in cheek, where it's just like, this might help. I don't know.
But just hearing somebody talk it through, and and it just think about it and see what we come up with. I think I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, man. Well, perfect. Awesome intro on that. Let's roll the first caller, Renee.
Matty B, how's it going? My name's Sam. You referred to me as Thor during your St. Paul set. I have since cut my hair. I got this sexy new haircut, and then the fucking pandemic happened, so I haven't really been able to show it off. But I threw it up on my old, dating apps. Got some matches, got some likes, but what the fuck am I supposed to do during this quarantine. You know, I just feel like there's nothing to talk about. You can only talk about goddamn Tiger King so many times. And I guess I'm looking for advice on how to foster relationships, digitally, conversationally, you know, exclusively for months on end without it just sort of fading out and petering into boredom. Or do I just give up entirely on the prospect of dating for the next few months and start fresh when everything's good to go again out in the world? Looking for advice on that front. So just, yeah, if you can help a guy out. I love your stuff. I love your podcast. Always love listening to you. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling, man. Doug, what would you say to the young man?
So much, you know, that's the thing is I see this all the time at like Q&As after screenings and stuff. Like sometimes there's so much to a question. People don't ask a question where you can just jump, you know, we can't begin to say just yes or no or maybe to this guy. This is a real complicated question. And the first thing, and also I get lost on certain things. And as soon as he said Tiger King, I was just like, spend a lot of that listening to it, but also thinking, fuck that Tiger King. Like, the way that guy treated people and animals, I hate that people think he's a figure to like sit around and laugh about, and that he's entertainment, because he's so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's where we are.
I just go back to those two gorillas that were separated by a cage for like what 20 years, and then they open the cage up and they can finally hug each other. I was just like, you know, like why and him kind of going, I guess that was kind of cruel. Like, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's like I have little sympathy for someone who's an absolute sociopath when it comes to human beings and animals, and then they're caught and they go, you know what? I think I have a problem. It's like, you're just fucking trapped now.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get out. You don't care.
Yeah. And
if no one found out you're a millionaire, you would keep going. Anyway.
And he's walking around whatever prison he's in, all like, you know, with the juice of knowing that out in the world, he's this popular figure.
Right.
Like, I want him to just go away, just be in jail and, you know, think about what you've done.
Yeah. Don't, like, no longer popular. Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway.
So
I think we both agree that this guy's right. That like talking about Tiger King is a waste of time.
Yes.
But I don't know. That's one of the things where, you know, I count my blessings and I'm in a relationship that I'm very happy with. So the issue doesn't have to be a concern of mine, but I think about everybody that's single and I think what can they do?
Dude, I think about that all the time. I can hear my wife on a conference call in the next room, and even that in its weird way is reassuring. If I'm just in here working on something or whatever, how people that only have like movies or music or podcasts or the voices in their head to keep them company, and they are wanting romantic companionship. I think since this is I met this guy at the show, and he was great, and is a young dude, and you know, I think it's kind of just the time where you don't. I wouldn't look at it as dating, because let's face it, it's fucking not. Like, every article is like the age of Zoom dating. It's like, you're not really dating. You know, just it's like speed dating. You're not dating. You're meeting someone. It's speed meeting. Like, with this, you should just look at it as a time. My advice to him would be like, don't withdraw completely, because you can make connections that might kind of pay off later, you know, romantically speaking. But for now, just kind of have those little times. You know, if someone reaches out, be like, oh, let's Zoom, let's talk and see, you know, check in on each other or stuff. But if either side is like, oh, I think I'd love to talk to you tomorrow or something, then be like, okay, I think we should just keep this.
Yeah. Anyone that's
connections, non-sexual. I think that would be what I would say. You know, I don't know, but it's rough.
Yeah, or the other way to go is to just there's got to be people out there that you could have some fun that's sexual over these formats or whatever, and just sort of get by in that sense. But yeah, I think if you spend a lot of time talking to one person right now and building up a relationship that could be a genuine thing, how long before you can really do it is only going to romanticize the relationship to a point where you'll be more frustrated by the lockdown and the quarantine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's driving everybody to do things that they shouldn't be doing yet, because it's just so hard for people to not, experience other people and pleasure.
Yes.
Whatever it is that brings them pleasure, because there's people that don't like people at all, but they are sad that they can't go surfing every day like they normally do or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and these people that go out and say freedoms have been taken away. It's like, well, the freedom to do whatever you want, that's been taken away, but you've never really had that.
No,
that you could do anything you want in a society.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you just have less freedom, and it's unforeseen and unfortunate and horribly inconvenient thing. But let's say Matt, you were just dating somebody, or you met somebody that it's really going great, and you're both quarantined separately. I mean, am I crazy to think that if you both do a 2-week quarantine apart from each other, that you could essentially, you could decide to cohabitate? Yeah. I
and then, if you just do it safely and ease into it, and then once you're both in the same home for a few days, then you could have sex, whatever, right? Because, it's more about like people that live together can get through this.
Yes.
It's the taking it out, taking, anything in or out is the problem. Like
that's a really great point. That's a really great point. Because it's like, I've talked with my parents about doing that, because they're supposed to visit later this year. And we were like, well, if it's still that bad, my parents are like, oh, we'll get an Airbnb in your neighborhood for 2 weeks and we just won't leave it. And I was like, great. Yeah, that's what they all kind of say in terms of acceptable. Life itself is acceptable risk. You can't stay in your house all the time. You got to grocery shop sometimes. There will be a time you got to go out there. So it's like, yeah, exactly. If they are, I think if you've been apart for 2 weeks, and you haven't shown after that 2 weeks, you haven't shown any kind of, hop in your car, don't go anywhere else, go to that person's house. And if they, the problem comes is if they don't live together and yet they're going.
Well, that's the thing, is you have to decide pretty much to spend all your time together. But it's like, if it's really, why wait till the end of this thing? Because we don't know how long it's going to last. And also everyone's going to decide to do stuff at their own speed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just because comedy clubs are open, Matt, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to do any shows.
Right. No, not yet.
It's crazy. I don't even want to fly there.
No.
But even if it was even if Flappers in Burbank was open, and even if people are sitting 6 feet apart, what's the point?
Yeah.
The point is to either get everybody together and do a real show or not. Yes. We can do this safely. Everybody can see us and hear our jokes.
Right. It's interesting. Like I do see the social distancing thing for a comedy club. I got an open knock against those comedians that are looking to do it and stuff. Everyone has to pay their bills and stay out there and stuff. It's definitely not ideal, but I do think, maybe it'll be different in a month. But right now, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like drunk driving, because it feels like one of those things where it's the most commonly committed crime there is, and it's totally wrong, and you should never do that. But if you went and you had a couple drinks and you jumped in your car, you'd probably be fine. You probably wouldn't hurt anyone. But there's that chance.
Yeah.
That's what I would constantly be worried about, which for the same reason I don't drink and drive. It's like there's that 0.00 or whatever it is, 5% chance that you have people in a room and one has it and they're a non, symptomatic carrier, and it bounces over the fucking walls and 15 people get it because that one guy came,
Yeah.
It's just, that's what I'm worried about.
And people are they're really ignoring the asymptomatic thing. I don't know if it's like too big of a word or something, but I hear and see people all the time who just think if you're healthy, and you can't give it or get it.
Yeah. No.
And it's not that simple.
No.
And it's just, you see these graphics on TV of like how it spreads and stuff. And it is just like, I was already like a person that really went hard at avoiding the flu before this happened.
Okay.
So like over the last couple of years, so like I was already super into like hand sanitizing or washing my hands after contact with anybody that I'm not, it's not my girlfriend, and or a friendly dog. I might not wash my hands after that, but you know what I mean? Like I was already really diligent about this shit, and so now once it started happening, I've just kept doing it, and even more intensely. But people that never washed their hands ever, are they really starting to now? We don't know, and I don't think they are. Like people are just crazy. They'll just do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of all this, when I was still traveling, and I had these 3 weekends in a row, and people would ask me like, "Oh, are you scared?" And I was like, "I'm not." We didn't know everything back then, and I wasn't like, "No, I don't care." I was like, "Yeah, I'm concerned," but the biggest changes I've seen have been positive in that I go to the bathroom in the airport, every guy washes his hands, and that used to be like a third of them. Guys would shits and walk right out the door. No, now everyone washes their, and like, so that was, I will say, probably that's one of the only silver linings besides the environment improving, is that people are washing their hands.
No, there's lots of little weird silver linings. Like I'm finding them all the time. Because I don't have anything better to do. But they are, they're all little. But whenever you see them, it's like, okay,
that ain't nothing.
I can find things.
That's
still,
nice. So okay, so I think for our pal Thor, I'm still gonna call him Thor.
Yeah, let's help him out.
But I think we did. I think it basically is, don't put too much pressure on those connections, but also at the same time, to your point, which is well made, don't be afraid to leap. If you make a real one, take 2 weeks of saying, what do you think? Should we try it? And it could be a thing. I think that's a great point.
People need to save money on rent now too.
Absolutely.
So it's so much better than moving in with your parents, moving into a new relationship,
So much better. Yeah.
I mean, it might not work out, but it's worth a shot. But the other thing I wanted to say, what was the dude's name?
I just call him Thor. I forget what he.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You were playing with him in that. Thor. I just want to say to Thor that first of all, that hammer is so mighty, but also, whatever it is whatever your profession is, like, did he get into that at all? Did he say what he does?
No, I don't know.
Whatever that is, now is a great time to think about ways to either step that thing you were doing up or move over to something else and to genuinely start working on it. I don't know if he's got any creative outlets that he was pursuing, but if he does, that's another way to, because the dating and, texting and all that stuff in normal life takes up so much of your brain space.
Right.
And this is such a great opportunity to be like, not concerned about that, not checking your phone all the time, actually getting your hands in and, getting something done. I just don't know what that would be for him, but there must be something that, even something as ridiculous as, redecorating or cleaning your home, in a more intense way than you've ever done before. There's just things you can get done that when this is over, you'd be like, well, at least I didn't just sit around watching TV the whole time.
Yeah, or dream about being in love, or finding someone, because there will be time. Not that there's ever a time you shouldn't look for new love if you want it at an age, but this is a young guy we're talking about. He's got some time.
Oh yeah. So there's no like he's not missing out on family and all that stuff. Like he's
exactly.
He doesn't have any reason to panic, so he should figure out the best way to enjoy himself. I find it's hard to I can't watch a lot of movies because, I just want to go back to worrying about what's going on. I can't really completely escape into them.
Yeah. It's hard. It's important to detach, I think.
Yeah. And I'm watching a ton of stuff. I just feature films are a little harder to watch than like a half-hour sitcom.
So true.
Which reminds me, great work in Upload, dude.
Oh, thanks, man. That was fun. That was fun. They had to cut Wayne and I down a lot more. We were supposed to be in a lot more of it, but hopefully
it felt like they were setting it up to be a thing that would happen a lot.
They just went so way over budget. And Greg was so nice about it. He was personally apologizing to us. And I was like, hey man, as long as the show gets made, am I still in it? Great.
Yeah. And you were your scene was in all the promotional materials.
I know. I was so psyched. I was very psyched. Yeah. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's go to the second call.
Love it.
Hi, my name is Hayley from Maryland. I called to ask for advice. I'm trying to make friends with a possum that started showing up in my backyard. I named him Trash Cat, and we have a lot in common. Like, we can't get COVID-19 from one another, and we both like to eat garbage food. So I think, we could have a real future. I'm calling to ask if you have any advice for getting closer to him. He seems kind of distant. He'll only come around to eat the food, and then he walks away, and I want to spend more quality time together. So if you have any advice, that would be great. Thanks.
Oh, my God. Hey. Oh, man, that's so sweet of you. Hayley, I think your name was? Renee, was it Hayley?
It was Hayley.
Thank you.
I'm so glad one of the three of us remembered.
I know, it's so bad. Wow, that's absolutely kind of beautiful. That call. Doug, what are your thoughts about making friends with a possum?
This is an interesting one because I don't know how much of that was like her just leaving a fun message. Right. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe I hope there really is a possum because I do think the situation's adorable. Mm-hmm. But I think aren't possums unsafe as far as should she really be messing around with a possum?
Well, I think it's in keeping with the theme. It would have to be a distanced relationship, It's
yes.
It's something that I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a little food out if you want the possum to have something to eat. But yeah, I mean, I grew up where we had a little Jack Russell Terrier that would kill them, and possums they have needle teeth. They're scary animals. And I don't just mean that because they're unattractive, but yeah, it's fun. I think the thing I wonder about this call is I don't think she necessarily wants to have a relationship with this possum, but she saw a possum in the yard. It's like, I'm going to call about that because I'm thinking about it maybe,
Yeah.
That's my feeling. If it isn't completely sincere.
Yeah. If I were her, I would jump on the internet and find out what possums eat. So you're not giving the possum something that's bad for the possum. Right. Or something they won't want anyway. Mm-hmm. Like I heard they don't like grapes. Right. And then, and just do it safely and pick a spot that's far enough away from the house that you can, wave from a window or something while the possum enjoys its food. I don't know if it would just grab it and run off with it. I don't know what the possum does, if it's more of a stay-in diner or to go. Mm-hmm.
But, what kind of dining experience they expect. Right.
I mean, with all the nature's creatures out there now, if I recall, when I'm walking down the street now and I run across a squirrel or a bird, they're a little bit more. They will approach. They're less scared of people because there's less of them now.
It's absolutely.
They're in charge, kind of. So
yeah, they're like pigeons or city squirrels. All animals are now. They'll kind of come right up to you.
Yeah, so anything I come across, I have been trying harder to befriend it on the spot because it seems easier. Like you can't pet people's dogs when they're out walking them. So you have to settle for squirrels and crows and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so that's where I'm at with this possum is like, I do like the idea of a relationship, but you can't, that thing about it won't give you COVID and you won't give it COVID. I mean, science hasn't really done the work yet to figure out if possums can get it.
Well, right. And didn't they say that a tiger actually got it? Like a tiger got COVID.
Some tiger got it. Some dog somewhere got it. But I don't know, like, did they spoon feed it to them? I don't know why these random animals are getting it. And I think it's just because they're the only animals that have been tested.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, I remember reading a thing, I have these weird books that are like, what would cause the end of all humanity? And I remember the thing that all scientists were kind of like, it'd probably be that, would be if you hybridized an animal virus that could attack human immune systems, which is basically what we're living through right now. And not to be like, this is the end or anything, but something like this could do it if it was much more deadly and much more transmittable and all that jazz. But like, the worst thing is a virus that can not only attack a human and an animal. It's like because it's that strong and that adaptable. So you don't know what that possum has. Like, don't be like that guy who ate that weird animal that started this whole thing off. And
you don't, you mess around with that possum and it bites you or something, then now you have to, get into the hospital or doctor's system that's already clogged up right now.
Yes.
And then while you're sitting there in the doctor or the hospital, while you're there, you're going to get COVID. Like it's lose. Like just,
Yeah. And aren't you like, I've had, a couple hospital visits with my wife and like not COVID related. And it's been so sterile. It's like, this is my wife. So sterile. I had no worry, but like, isn't it funny how like now, not that you'd ever want to go to the hospital anyway, but now is not the time to get hurt over something dumb. Because it's like all hands on deck for this plague. And if you show up because you did a Jackass stunt and you broke your arm, they're going to be like, really, man? I got to set your arm? I got people dying over there,
July 4th is going to be a mess because people are still going to blow their hands off with fireworks.
I didn't even think of that. Oh, my God. July.
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, they should start saying it now on TV in cities that have firecracker laws. They should start being very clear. People be arrested for doing that shit because they just injure themselves all the time.
Well, it's kind of like, I think we're going back to colonial or Civil War rules. You blow your hand off, it's gone, man. You wrap up that stump,
go to torch, cauterize that shit,
drink some bourbon,
walk it off,
pass out. That's all you get to do. That's all you get to have. So yeah, I think if she wants to put a little bowl out, befriend him, but befriend him from afar.
How funny would that be if there's somebody outside of the hospital that determines whether you can go in based on whether or not your injury is stupid?
What'd you do? No, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on the list. We can't, we won't admit anybody who, who blew off a finger with a firecracker. We can't
like
let you in or something.
The velvet rope guy at Studio 54. No, you're not getting in. No.
Looking him up and down. No. Next.
Oh, my hand.
No,
Get out of here, sir.
Get out of here.
I don't know what to tell you. You're not getting in.
Yeah. You weren't trying to help anybody when that happened to your hand. That reminds me, one of those flyovers crashed, a flyover to celebrate the healthcare workers. I mean, is that the most ridiculous? That is not worth dying for.
It already was the worst waste of our money. Like, all of that money should have gone to testing.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely was an order from who.
Testing, food, homeless shelters, hospitals, blah, blah, blah.
You name it.
So many things. I know it's important to lift people's spirits, but like the comedians are online doing it all day long. You don't have to do a flyover that's dangerous.
We got it. Make all into hazard pay for grocery workers. Put it all in hazard pay.
The plane crashed into somebody's house. Somebody who owns a house just had a plane crash into it for no good reason.
I did not know it hit a house. Oh God. And the pilot died?
I don't think anybody was in it, but like a lady pilot died.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't mean to say lady pilot like that makes it sadder or something, but
it kind of does to me. I don't know. Just the way, as in terms of societal,
Yeah, it is an unfair break.
And then
it's unfair to get
it's unfair.
a break in the world of men, and then you're the one that gets sacrificed.
Oy.
Craziness.
It was a bad idea from the start. Okay, let's roll the third call then.
All right, Braunger. So, hi from Portland. 36-year-old queer woman, part of a polyamorous cluster, which has been fine up until now, I guess. I have an immunodeficiency, which means that I can't see anyone unless those someones have really, truly quarantined for at least 14 days. And I am concerned that the two people in my poly cluster who I would be fucking / cuddling / not crying alone with are maybe not being as honest with me about how safe they are, because my doctor looked me dead in the eye and told me this shit would kill me. So it's a little scary, man? But I'm fucking horny. I'm almost so horny that I don't even care anymore. I went from having 8 lovers a week to, just my old hand. Should I trust my 2 polycules who promised me they're being safe enough to come see me? Or should I just wait it out? Thank you.
Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for calling and for sharing this. Oh man, that's hard. I mean, I gotta go with you. If you gotta go with how you're feeling, and if you're feeling like you don't feel like you trust them, then just maybe it's kind of time to be a soldier, unfortunately, and go and just tell them, my doctor just said I can't see you guys now, not for a while.
Say to them, so how would you feel if you lied to me about what you've been up to, and then you come over and I get COVID and die? How is that going to make you feel?
Yeah, that's perfect, dude.
And then if the person's cares about you at all,
right?
Even just sexually, you know what I mean? Why would you want that person to die? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think even if she says, look, I've just been so paranoid and so scared. Can you, are you sure you haven't been anywhere or been around anyone or been in a public place where you could have picked up anything that could possibly get to me? If you're 100% certain, maybe I can trust you, but because I think if she puts it the way you put it and the way I put it, I think these people who have been her partners for a while, if they're honest, would be okay, well, no, I mean, I did go to, Fred Meyer's market and was there and wasn't wearing a mask. Then right then it's like, all right, cool, we're done until this thing's over. I mean,
Yeah, and she needs people. She needs to. If she's going to interact with people, they need to be people that are truly like doing the 14-day thing first. And it sounds like, I'm guessing from her description, that she's dealing with people that she's pretty sure are just also going out and seeing other people.
Yeah, I think that's
it's not worth the risk.
It really isn't. And it, with people, when you say quarantine for 14 days, really quarantine for 14 days, not like what you and I are doing, where we're possibly taking walks, we're doing our own grocery shopping, really doing it. That is hard. If you think about just being, I had a friend who had it, and he stayed in like a room for 2 weeks. That I would be despondent. So yeah. I think it's more, we have this thing in us as human beings, and even more so as Americans, because our whole shit is liberty. I do what I want. Who are you, England? That we have this idea inside of us that we think like, I think it's cool. Like I've had a running gag forever with my friends and with my wife, where I'll be like, yeah, I think it's fine, where it probably isn't. And it's just a running joke about like, if like someone who owes you money, and you're like, hey, you have that $20? They're like, you know what? I think it's fine, Doug. And you're like, no, can I have my money? I wouldn't worry about it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I think it's fine. You owe me money, and to the point, like my suit I got married in, under the lapel stitched, it says, yeah, I think it's fine. My wife would be like, did you lock the back door? Yeah, you know what? I think it's fine. And I'll still go lock it. But it's a joke. But you can't really live like that. She can't have those two partners who are like, I think it's fine, because they're going to be okay. But she's the one who has to, it's God, what a kick in the ass to not only be a woman who obviously is in charge of consent at all times, but on top of that, you have this situation where you have to decide on consent for your life. And
it's messed up. It's really messed up, because it's very similar to the whole situation with condoms, where there's a lot of the man or the woman, usually the man, convincing her that somehow it's like you say, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
To have to have unprotected sex, and that's essentially what her partners are asking for now, is deadly unprotected sexual interaction. And that's so not cool of them to put her in that position. And then also so uncool of whatever created us to make her so horny that she's thinking about taking the chance.
Well, and I think it's
like, that's how important procreation is in our dumb human brains, is that gotta get it.
You got to. But it's also, I think it's wrapped up in all the horniness is also just a need to be held, a need to hold someone.
She said that, cuddling and crying together, like,
And
you were saying earlier, FaceTime isn't cutting it.
Nope.
No, people really do need to be together.
They really do need to be together. And those, I'm sure those two people care about her very much. I'm sure they do. And that's probably why they don't want to be, robbed of her. I read this article that was, because supposedly people have really some relatives that are just like, no, I'm coming to see you. And these people have to lock their doors and tell their kids, you can't see grandma. And grandma's like, oh, let me in. And they're like, oh, you'll die. And there's this whole beat by beat article about what to say to your parents as a grown person.
Yeah.
Like, they demand to see their grandkids. So I don't know how pushy her two lovers are being, but they might be like, no, I love you. What do you mean I can't see you? You're denying me that? And I mean, you and I, in a sense, are kind of painting them as villains, but the fact that this person is wondering whether she can trust them, and sincerely wondering, she doesn't sound paranoid to me. It makes me kind of think that those people are being like, they're unafraid of the unseen. Like
Well,
most,
like a lot of people are taking that attitude. It's just like, well, it hasn't got me, and it's not gonna get me. And it's like, well, you don't know that, and you don't know, it's so complicated. And in her case, I also feel like, those people that want to get together with her, she's got a fragile immune system, so she's clearly not going out much or doing any kind of like job outside of her home.
right.
But these people that she's talking about, these other women, they may still have jobs. You know what I mean? They may still like go out jogging every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who knows what joggers are out there all day, every day with no masks on. It's just like, I guess if you're a jogger, that's like your free pass to be worse than the people that are out walking their dogs or walking slowly, because you're constantly spitting and pushing your shit out into air where it lingers for 8 minutes while you're gone running away from it, and could land in the face of somebody who has a low immune system, and it could kill them. Like, it's just, that's the other thing is if she's got to find someone that wants to quarantine on their own first,
right,
and then join her and not leave. The two of them stay quarantined together.
That's really
then they can have all the sex and cuddling they want. But then they get sick of each other, and they were polyamorous, so they both have multiple partners.
But I think it's one of those things where maybe put the polyamorous thing on pause and see if one or both those people will just stay with her, and they probably
or I know she's super horny, but a friend or a relative can accomplish the cuddling and crying parts. If there's somebody she could quarantine with, that also might make things better.
That's true. And you kind of just have to sneak off to satisfy your horniness, but you would have that human connection, which I think would certainly lessen a lot of the pain,
Yeah, I think I see roommate situations all the time. In fact, like a lot of times when I see people walking down the street, they're clearly not a couple, I'm always just like, oh, they must live together. So they're kind of going by the rule that since we're together all the time, we can also go places together. But then they're often not wearing masks, so I just don't know. People pick one thing, like 6 feet or a mask or stay home, or you know what I mean. They'll just sort of pick a thing and then do everything else however they feel like, And there's just too many rules in this thing. There's too much to, keep track of.
Yeah, it's
because also it keeps changing every day. They keep learning more and more about it. Some people are just sitting on what they learned 6 weeks ago.
Exactly. It stopped. I mean, I've overheard people being like, well, I don't watch the news, and then in the next breath they go, you know what I think it is.
Yeah.
And there's too much of us that are doing that, for sure.
Yeah. It's really warm out today. I bet you it's dissipating and we don't have to worry about it.
That was my favorite. The hot weather will burn it off. It's like it's raging in Indonesia. There's never not hot weather there.
Yeah, no one has ever gotten any kind of sickness, flu, colds in the summertime.
Nope.
Because the heat just kills all that stuff.
Yeah, and the beach life.
People this summer cold are just hypochondriacal pussies.
Yeah. Everyone knows that.
The heat should have taken care of it.
Yeah. What's your problem? Yeah.
You're sick, go lay on the beach. You'll be fine.
Well, I hope that helped her out. And God.
I hope so too. I don't know. I mean, all of the questions were really, I'm glad they are reaching out to someone, because they all need to talk to somebody about these things.
Yeah.
And I hope they all do the right thing. I think everybody here has the opportunity to make good choices or bad choices.
Absolutely. Well, you gave a lot of wisdom, and actually had a bong rip between callers, which I enjoyed watching. That was great.
I just you just don't know the policy on some shows. I don't know if
live it up. Be a human being. I am pro. Yeah. I am pro.
I just go over here.
Non-harmful drug. Oh, I thought it was great because you had the bong and you ripped it out and then you put it back. And of course, the marijuana summoned the call of the woman making friends with a possum, as it does. So that was, that was perfect. That was perfect timing. Yeah. Well, I hope you had a good time on the podcast.
I did have a good time.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Looking forward to coming on Doug Loves Movies in a couple weeks, I think it is, that I'm coming on.
Yeah.
I'm psyched.
Super soon.
I'm psyched that you're still doing stuff on Zoom. I think we all need to keep each other sane during this time of being horses with no legs.
Yeah, no, that's my bottom line advice to everybody listening or watching is to just keep yourself busy, and try to enjoy it in spite of it, When I'm outside and I hear somebody laughing really hard, I get kind of annoyed, like, what? Hey, calm down. Can't be having that much fun. But especially in our world doing this stuff, I think everybody needs to laugh. And so, it's a nice release,
You ain't lying, man. That's exactly how I feel. We have to find the happy moments in it, to get through, because you can help as much as you possibly can, but at the same time, it's not helping anyone if you stay massively depressed all the time. And
little light.
Yeah, little light. Don't let your imagination get the best of you. There's the fact that there's a lot we don't know is a bad and a good thing, because we might learn some cool shit in the coming weeks. Who knows?
I don't know, man. But I like leaving this on an up note.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thanks again, man. I'll talk to you soon, Doug. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
You got it. And thanks to all the callers who called in. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye.
This Might Help with Matt Braunger was created and hosted by me, Matt Braunger. Produced by Outer Circle Media. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcasts.